How's it going, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to round 3 of May 1st Locals. And here we have something I don't think we've had before on the channel, and that is an Earth Machine mirror match. That's right, a nice little machine-on-machine match. And on the right, you have yours truly piloting the Earth Machine deck, and on the left, my good friend Adam, also piloting the Earth Machine deck. And I want to preface this video by saying that I have very little experience in the mirror match. Something I played very, very little of, maybe 5 times, I would say max, is how many times I've played the mirror match on Dueling Book, and I don't think I've ever played the mirror in person either, to be totally honest. So this was round 3, and I believe I was 2-0 at this point, so wanted to really go 3-0, but it sucked that one of us was going to have to lose, unfortunately, after everything was said and done. So also, one thing I want to mention too, both of us opened Ancient Gearbox in our opening hands here, which I thought was just hilarious. This match was also featured in brief detail in, I believe, episode 3 of One Deck One Month, so go check that out if you haven't. And also, the Earth Machine player on the left, my friend Adam, was also featured in the last round feature match that went up earlier today. Versus PKBA. So go check that one out if you haven't already. Be leaving a link up to it in the top right. And he is going to have to do the route of the Ancient Gearbox combo a little differently. And it's going to work a little bit differently because he started with Cruncher. The Ancient Gearbox Recycle combo works much better if you have to start with the Harvester, because it allows you to load your grave up with more targets. Now, it doesn't really make too big of a difference here. He does have to, unfortunately, put back River Stormer to the extra deck, which does kind of suck. It's one of those cards that is oftentimes better left in the graveyard, but he had to do basically what he had to do, and he couldn't link off those 2 cards there to get more fodder in the graveyard, because he needs those cards on board to be able to go into Ballista. Now, maybe he could have done it a little bit more efficiently. I'm not too sure. But either way, the goal of the combo has been accomplished. Putting Box back into the deck off Tunneler to draw cards, and then to search Box again later in the combo to add more cards. Looks like he's going to activate Heavy Forward for Drill. He does have Fortress in the grave, and he will pitch what look to be Trencher and Drill for that. And then it looks like he's going to possibly use Drill effect here. Drill will bring out Bullet, because why not? And then he'll link maybe a Drill for a Goliath. But I'm not exactly sure what he's going to do here. He's kind of got a lot of extra pieces onto the board right now. So he's going to go ahead and link both Ballista and Drill into Knuckle. And he's got the Derek Crane in hand as well. So it's going to come in very, very clutch there. So ending on number 81 with Fortress on board and Knuckle in play. And also one set is pretty solid. And of course, we'll get the end phase recursion of Bullet in the end phase to add back the Drill. So yeah, a very, very solid board ending on or very, very weak hand ending on a solid board is what I wanted to say. Now, I, of course, have to do basically the same combo, but kind of tiptoe my way through all of his interruptions. Of course, he does have a pop with Derek Crane, the unknown set card at this point. So I'm going to basically try to do as much of the combo as I possibly can. Start with Heavy Forward for Harvester. Harvester is going to add Doser. Now, remember, I also opened Ancient Gearbox here. So I'm trying to, go through my combo as much as I can, because I don't really want to try to break his field per se, because I'm going to give him cards in return by doing that. So basically what I am trying to do here is to draw into traps, wall up myself, and then let him basically run into my traps during his next turn, because I do main Solemn Strike. He does not. I do play Torrential Tribute. He does not. Cards that are all going to be actually pretty decent against his deck. Solemn Strike especially, an incredible card against the Earth Machine deck. Now he is going to activate Forbidden Droplet on the River Stormer, which is a pretty good call. And one thing I also want to mention is you see how I linked my Harvester for Goliath first before using Dozer. And that was for a specific reason, because I wanted to get more fodder in the grave to use for Tunneler. And then here I end up making a misplay I link the Stormer for Goliath and then send the Goliath for Stormer. Goliath reattaches, and then I go to equip it with, or attach the Heavy Forward to it to go for a Gaia Charger. But my friend reminds me I'm under Dozer, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I actually forgot Dozer effect. And now I'm actually locked in Earth Machines. I was trying to go into a Zeus play here, you know, try to force some things out. But instead, I go ahead and resolve the redeployment that I had in hand by pitching Ancient Gearbox to add both the Fortress and the Citadel. Now, it's really good that I had that redeployment because I needed a discard outlet for the box, obviously, to get it back into the grave to recycle with the Tunneler. Now, at this point, I could link my Stormer into another Goliath, but I attempt to go into the battle phase here. My reasoning behind this was to try to force out his Fortress. So this is a mandatory effect, and I was seeing if he would end up targeting my Fortress to destroy it. You know, that way I would get to bring back Citadel and also, you know, rip a card out of his hand. But I made an error there. I could have done that play potentially. I just didn't need to reattach the Goliath to the Stormer, but I was caught up in trying to do another play that I couldn't actually do. And that tunnel vision kind of screwed me over because I could have mandatorily, you know, forced his Fortress to pop my Stormer to get my Citadel on field, which would have been actually pretty nice to have. But either way, I resolved my Tunneler here. I set my cards first because I really didn't think I was going to be able to do much past this, but I was like, you know what, let's continue on here. Let's keep playing. Let's resolve my Ballista, and I end up setting 4 here after adding Box and Trencher, and I decide to not do any more after that because I don't want to attack his bullet. I don't want to give him what he wants in the end phase. I don't want to give him cards back. So at this point, I'm going to just try to, you know, whittle him down with back row. And I do have the nice Citadel in the graveyard, and I do have a pretty loaded hand too. So I'm hoping to whittle him down as much as I can with the traps that I have. You know, make him think twice about killing my Ballista. And, you know, just see where it goes from here. This mirror match I find is something that's very, very slow paced. And I also find that anybody who can get access to Citadel first also usually wins, because Citadel is such a very good controlling card that it can shut down Earth Machine turns very, very quickly if used at the right time. So my opponent's going to normal Drill, and he's going to activate Drill's effect to summon Box. On the summon of Box, I use my Overdrive, targeting Ballista. My opponent uses number 81, targeting my Ballista. So I changed Strike, because I wanted to bait out the number 81. So that clears that. And then, you know, on a new chain here, we're going, I believe it was his Derek Crane would be Chainlink 1. And then my stuff would be Chainlink 2 and 3. So Citadel comes out first, then the Cruncher resolves. I think, or actually might have been Cruncher, Chainlink 3, Citadel, Chainlink 2, Derek Crane, Chainlink 1. So after he uses his Derek Crane, my Citadel's already on field, so I chain Citadel. And then he brings back his Knuckles. That's really the only thing he has left at this point to do. Knuckle kills the Cruncher, and end phase, he gets back his Bullet, and Bullet is going to add the Trencher for next turn. So Overdrive and Strike pretty much wiping out his entire field here. And I start my turn by pitching Cruncher in hand for Fortress. And I also have the Harvester in hand and the Derek Crane to boot, and that's just going to be game right then and there. So we take that one pretty easily thanks to Solemn Strike and the help of Overdrive, and we're into game 2. And I do want to mention at this point, if you guys are interested in picking up the playmats that we have, or playmats like it, check out Imperium Duelist. They sell all sorts of great cloth playmats, deck boxes, dice, binders, and more. Link to their site down below. And you can get all the stuff on their site for 10% off using my discount code WinnerKills10off and support the channel in the process. Also, if you're considering buying any cards or product or anything on TCG Player, please do not forget to use the affiliate link that I have to their site. It is in the description of all my videos. If you guys shop and check out using that link, a small bit of the revenue from your purchase will go right back into the channel. And if you want early videos, exclusive members-only content, consider becoming a member of the channel today. Link below, or click that blue join button for more information. So, my opponent opens pretty cracked here in game 2. Redeployment, pitching Citadel. Just such an incredibly good opening here. But he decides to play this a bit safer, a bit slower. He could have gone for the rank 9 combo with Enter Blathnir, because you can do that anytime you open up Redeployment. And he is taking it a bit more of a modest route, which I actually think is correct. Because the things that Earth Machine can put out, a lot of board wipes, it can play through quite a bit of interruptions. I don't think going for the big extravagant rank 9 play is often the call going against the deck, like in the mirror match. I think it's much better to make more of a smaller play, because I think less is definitely more in the mirror match, because you want to save as much resources as possible, because the grind is very, very important, and you do not want to be low on resources going into this matchup, that's for sure. So he's going to find his way into Knuckle, and he's going to go ahead and use the Tunneler, recycling back Cruncher and 3 Goliaths and 1 copy of Ballista. I didn't see an Ash, which is unfortunate. Otherwise, I would have 100% Ashed that Tunneler. I think that's a very, very good point to Ash. And he's going to go ahead and set 2, and he's going to get to end phase, add back Dozer off of Bullet, and I'm going to draw for turn here. And I think I drew Ash for turn, which is actually pretty good, because that will shut down his Overdrive. Now, I didn't open up any starters in terms of like Harvester, Heavy Forward, Redeployment, or Cruncher, but I do open the Drill with a Trencher, which is actually kind of nice, because that will get me some bodies on field and allow me to get into a rank 9, and that will allow me to apply a lot of pressure to those back row. And I know the back row is a very, very important part of the Earth Machine deck, so I'm going to try to bait those out as quickly as possible. Going right for an Earth Slicer. He is going to attempt to use Overdrive, and I do have the Ash for it, which is actually pretty huge, and we also clear an Order in the process. Yeah, so that was a pretty solid play. And then we link that into a Goliath, and then we summon out the Bullet, and then we link those into Ballista. And we activate Ballista to add Box, and I think I go for Tunneler, yeah, since I already have a Trencher in play. So what is, kind of been a mediocre opening is turning out to be pretty solid thanks to an Ash. Ash and Strike are very, very good in the mirror. Ash for the Overdrive, Strike for pretty much anything else. And then we go for the Knuckle. And then here I think I use my Tunneler, putting back the Earth Slicer, and I think a copy of Drill back into the deck. Or no, I think I just shuffle back 5 extra deck monsters. Yeah, and draw just 2 right off the top. So at this point, we're both kind of like in a stalemate. We both have Knuckle on board. The only difference is my opponent has access to Citadel, and I do not, which is kind of problematic. Before I leave end phase, he's going to use Knuckle to bring back Bullet, and then we're going to get to the end phase where I use my own Bullet to add back a Drill. Now, my turn was far less productive than his was. He did get access to River Stormer. We were both able to resolve Tunneler, but the fact that he has a River Stormer in his graveyard is absolutely huge. And also the fact that he has a Fortress. Not only that, but an Overdrive and a Citadel. He is just so far ahead of me at this point. The fact that I did not get to see a Dozer or anything was very, very detrimental. So he summons, now I have Strike set too. He summons Harvester, uses effect to search, and then he uses his other effect to go for a level 12. This is where I make a huge mistake, because obviously he's trying to threaten the Zeus, and I use the incorrect back row here, because that's going to allow him to get a Citadel in the process, which is really rough for me, and it's going to leave my board completely open. What I should have done is let him go for the Zeus, and then just strike that summon. I don't know why I didn't do that. But he's going to activate Redeployment now, pitching a Cruncher. Absolutely just disgusting here. Adding an Overdrive and a Fortress. His hand is loaded here with plenty of discard fuel for Fortress. And he already has another Fortress in grave, so he's going to pitch 2 to bring Fortress out of grave. I could have strike that, but striking that is not going to be the best idea, because I'm going to be dead regardless at the end of the day, because, Fortress isn't a once per turn. And I lose that game very, very quickly because I decided to Torrential at the incorrect point. I should let him commit to the Zeus and then strike the summon, and then I would have had the Torrential for a follow-up from there. It is what it is, right? These mistakes happen. So here we are in Game 3, where, of course, I am going to take first. I start with Redeployment, pitching Overdrive. Now, if this this redeployment would have gotten ashed, I would have had just to set a few and pass because my opening hand did not have any other starters in it other than just the redeployment. Now here, me, thinking I have it all figured out, decide to go for the rank 9 play. Remember what I said earlier about more being less in the mirror match? Well, that still holds true in my opinion. Now that Calamities is not a thing for the deck, you can't just go into the rank 9 combo and expect to turn skip them, because like the things that you're ending on in the rank 9 combo are not really that much better than what you'd be ending on normally. Because like going for the big plays and everything give cards like Fortress and Citadel much more value, because you have more cards in play, more cards to crash into, more cards to blow up with Citadel. I do rip a card out of his hand, though. I do take a heavy forward out, which is pretty good. I'm thinking maybe that was his only starter, right? Maybe that was it. I think I also cited an Anti-Spell Fragrance and Order. So I'm thinking if I can possibly draw any of those cards, if I can draw Strike, Order, Anti-Spell, off my Tunneler, off my Overdrive, I could easily take this game. So at this point, I'm just trying to go all out. We're linking Stormer into Goliath, sending the Stormer for Goliath, or sending the Goliath to the Stormer, linking those back, bringing out the Fortress, going for Knuckle, and now we're going to resolve Tunneler, putting back all 3 Goliaths, or 2 Goliaths, I think here. Yeah, that's right. Only doing 2 Goliaths because the rank 9 combo is a little weird in that you only put back 3 to the extra deck as opposed to 4. We still draw into 2 cards here. I don't think my draws were that great, to be honest here. Now, at this point, I think I have a Torrential or 2 in hand. I go for number 81. And then I was debating here on whether or not I wanted to use Overdrive. I decided to use it anyways. Put 3 cards back into the deck, Trencher and Tunneler among those cards, which is really solid, and I draw into another. And I think the only back row I had here was Torrential, which sucked. Yeah, so, I mean, my end board is really solid. I have double Torrential, and I have number 81 with Knuckle. No Citadel access, which is unfortunate, but my opponent opens Fortress Citadel. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot, but Fortress Citadel is pretty dang good. He's going to attempt to enter the battle phase where I'm going to chain Knuckle, bring out Bullet, and he's going to crash his Fortress into my Enter Blathnir to take 400. Now, what that is going to do is start a chain link where Fortress is chain link 1, Citadel is chain link 2 to summon itself back out. And that is kind of problematic. And he's also going to get to pop a card off the Fortress, right? And he's going to go for one of my back row, which ends up obviously hitting one of the 2 Torrentials that I have set. And then Citadel comes out, and that runs over the Enter Blathnir for 100 points. Now, here in main phase 2, things get a little tricky. So at this point, it's like, where else can I stop him next, essentially? And if I try to use my number 81 early, he's just going to chain the Citadel. Now, of course, here is where he summons off of Dozer, and I try to go for the Torrential, because I'm thinking at this point, if I can Torrential here, he's already used Citadel, this might be a pretty good spot to go for the Torrential. And of course, I'm going to chain my number 81 to that, because I don't want to lose my number 81, but he has Forbidden Droplet to send off his Trencher. So everything is just wiped here in this case. And my Derek Crane does not get to activate. Yeah, because there's no legal targets on field left. He links the Dozer into the Goliath after using Trencher, sets one, and passes. Now on my turn, or in my end phase, I add back off of the Bullet for the Harvester. Now, here is where things I feel like I could have played a little better. I normal Cruncher for turn, revealing Fortress, revealing a Drill and a Trencher, I think. I should have definitely revealed a Citadel off this. I don't know why I didn't. In hindsight, having access to Citadel at this point was needed, I would say. And here I'm trying to make a discards for the Fortress in my grave, because I have Knuckle, I have Riverstormer, and I have Fortress. Like, those are the 3 graveyard cards I have to work with. So I pitch, I think, Trencher, Harvester, and Box to summon back the Fortress. Now, at this point, I should have just gone into the battle phase. I should have just gone into the battle phase, because the only trap that I was probably worried about at this point would have been overdrive, because the only thing I have to worry about is the Citadel, and I put myself in a vulnerable position to where after, you know, I burn my Trencher to bring out the Harvester, I'm just asking to get board wiped. I know he has Citadel engraved, so I have to play it very, very carefully. But basically, if I would have, you know, gotten a Citadel maybe off of my overdrive or off of my Cruncher, and then, you know, triggered, you know, his, or trying to bait the overdrive early by, you know, attacking over his Goliath with my Fortress, to sneak some damage in, right, and make him burn it there, and then try to crash my Fortress into his Citadel, right, that could have been, you know, a lot more higher value, because he would have had to pop his own Goliath, the only monster he had on field with his overdrive, and then, you know, I can, you know, redeclare onto his Citadel. I think that's where I made a huge error. So now I'm in a tough spot where I have to, you know, decide whether or not I want to use my Dozer. So I decided to use it anyways. And, you know, I quickly realized that I still had a Tunneler left in deck, which was huge. So I'm thinking maybe this is my last chance. My Tunneler will draw me into something good that will, you know, help to bring me back in this game. Solemn Strike, something, just something I need, like Urgent Schedule, literally anything here. To give myself a little more defense, because I need defense right now, because Citadel is just going to be very, very problematic going into this next turn. But I draw, I think, Anti-Spell and Fortress, which is not good whatsoever. I mean, the Anti-Spell is okay, but, you know, if he already has a good normal summon in hand, the Anti-Spell isn't going to do anything. Now, he does top deck Heavy Forward, which is kind of nice, because I do have the Standby Phase Anti-Spell, but he does have Harvester as a normal summon. So it almost like the Heavy Forward doesn't matter, or the fact that he can't use his Heavy Forward doesn't really matter. Yeah, I think I definitely played that very incorrectly there. Should have tried to call his bluff, because the only thing I had to worry about there was the Citadel. And if I can bait the Citadel out early, especially with a card like Fortress, I think I was just really underestimating how powerful Fortress really is in this situation. Because if I go to the battle phase, you know, and I force the overdrive, right, he'll get his cards out, you know, he'll get a Cruncher, he'll get his Citadel out, and then I can at least, you know, try to redeclare onto his Fortress, and at that point he has two options. He either board wipes just my Fortress, which I don't care about, because then I can continue to combo normally, or I crash my Fortress into his Citadel, and then get the effective Fortress to pop the Citadel. And that board wipe, which was the bane of my existence in that last turn, is no longer a threat, and I can still use Trencher. I can still, you know, normal summon my Cruncher and try to make plays, because I still had a lot of cards left to work with. Still had a Earth Slicer. Could have set up other plays. Could have maybe, you know, I don't know, set up better plays and not just lose outright to a board wipe, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Now, my opponent here gets to a point where he has Ballista. He uses Ballista's other effect, actually, to drop my Knuckle by 0. And pop his set, which is currently unusable thanks to my Anti-Spell. And then he resolves this Tunneler, draws into a couple more, Bullet among one of those cards, and he summons the Bullet, and this is just going to be game. I attempt to use my Knuckle in a fit of desperation, but it doesn't matter, because he can just attack with everything else, the Citadel, the Fortress, and then when he goes to attack with the Bullet, he can just send off like a Ballista and the Citadel. So, unfortunately, I take the 2-1 loss to my own deck. But now this match was really good. I really like this match because it shows a lot of the mistakes that can be made in this particular mirror match, and I happen to make quite a few of them. Resource management is everything, and less really is more, honestly, when in terms of, like, you know, trying to combo and go for the big extravagant plays is not really worth it. Because at the end of the day, as you saw there, all it took to break that field was Citadel Fortress, which is nuts. Of course, he also had a Droplet too, but like any form of effect negation, really could have done the same thing there. He could have started with a Dark Ruler, whatever. Or even a Forbidden Chalice would have been enough, right? But yeah, that's going to do it for this match. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys have been enjoying the double uploads. They'll be continuing over the next couple of days. I've got some first place deck profiles for you guys coming as well. And if you haven't checked out the previous round, go ahead and check it out now. And yeah, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Winterkill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And last but not least, a special thanks goes to all of the YouTube members supporting this channel, and a huge shout out especially goes to our Divine Level channel member, and he is Cadillacs84. Thank you, man, so much for your continued and very generous support of this channel.